The following game has no ESRB rating, nor is there any sort of restrictive content warning or any sort of warning as to what may be in the game. From what I have played so far, it doesn't seem to have anything worrisome in terms of age-restrictive content. So if I were to guess, if it were to have an ESRB rating, I would say most likely it would be rated E for everyone. So following that guess, and having never completed the game, I can't say exactly the whole of it just from my experience, but I would say that anyone under the age of 6 should not be watching this video. You have been warned.
Greetings and salutations. I am Outlier and I bid you welcome to this channel. Joining me today is, of course, my usual co-hosts, Snowball and Wolf. And today we're returning back to Autonauts. So the premise of Autonauts is that you have been sent to an alien world to build a colony for your people. And while you can harvest every resource, build every tool, and construct every structure, basically the building blocks of society and everything that you need and want and desire to survive and thrive, it can get tedious because you literally have to handcraft everything one at a time. And while you can turn every nut and bolt of the inner workings of the great machine that is society, you don't have to, in the fact that you can construct an ever-increasing army of programmable robots to do all of the heavy lifting and menial tasks for you. Well, I don't think that's actually a game mechanic. At least I'm fairly certain they're not, or at the very least the bots that I currently have access to aren't smart enough to revolt. But even if they could revolt, there are still some checks and balances in the workings of the systems that I have in place to prevent that. At least that is until the robots become smart enough to actually counteract the checks and balances and fill in the shortcomings with their own designs. I mean, let's be honest, they're smart enough to actually revolt and are quite capable of revolting against me. They'd probably be smart enough to circumvent what few safeguards I have in place in the systems to prevent them from, well, being not serving, self-sufficient. That's the word I'm trying to find. Because I do not know how to talk. But we're not here to talk about me, we're here to play a game. And for those who haven't seen last episode, I've been progressing with the expansion of the colony. By expansion, I mean upgrading everything. I'm not actually increasing the size of the colony. I finished that, arguably, for now, because I managed to move the final field that I had off from where it was to the new agricultural, well, district, for lack of a better term. There's still some flaws in the plan, most notably the robots that handle the infrastructure and moving resources from point A to point B. There's a gap in their travel network, and if they run out of power in said gap, then everything grinds to a halt, or at the very least, their job grinds to a halt, and then shortages occur elsewhere down the line. Because as simple as this game seems initially, and as cutesy and artsy as the original, well, not the original, as the opening title sequence appears and all the advertising, it is a rather complex game that, if you are not paying attention to your every various aspect and work at all the kinks in your supply chains, things pile up in one place, they run out in another place, and everything grinds to a halt. And speaking of everything grinds to a halt, I'm fairly certain I'm in the middle of yet again another plank shortage. Because they've emptied plank storage yet again with everything that they need to do and build and want. And I've yet to get around to fixing that because it just cropped up towards the end of last video. So that's something to look forward to, again. But hopefully now I have the space to increase the Woodcutters Guild, so that way I can actually put in extra woodcutters to build more planks, and then probably another lumberyard, because if they're hauling more logs away to turn into planks, that means that I need more logs going in. Because every time you need to increase the supply chain in one spot, you need to increase its supply, otherwise you run out of that. And once everything gets rebalanced and reworked and everything's up and running again, then I can actually move on to the next stage of enlightenment, which I'm assuming is clothing. That's still on the to-do list, somewhere, I think. I may have lost the to-do list, so I'm not exactly certain. But anyway, it's still something to look forward to. And with all of that out of the way, all that's left to say is that this game is, of course, made by... Thank you again. And that being said, let us begin. Right, so here we are at the colony, right where I left it off last episode, because I do not play this game in between recordings. I probably should. It would get the minutia bits out of the way, but to be fair, the minutia bits are what kind of make this game interesting. Alright, so someone's out of power behind the massive stacks of turf that I just happen to have sitting around, and I can't actually see which one they are. Yeah, I'm going to need recharging pods for this area, just simply because I'm fairly certain there's no way to rotate the camera. No. I mean, I could just simply go to the bot log. I'm assuming if they're over here, they're part of the logicians, and then I can just look for whoever's out of power, which would be Mark 1-29, who's hauling berries from point A to point B. So... I mean, I can zoom in. I can zoom in quite a bit, apparently. I just can't see the robot. It always wants to highlight something on the stack. Oh, there's actually a free camera. Oh, no wonder why I can't see him. Of course, the free camera, once you deactivate the free camera, it just goes back to here. Alright, what's Mark 1-22 doing? Seriously, what is Mark 1-22 doing? No, don't rewind him. Hard to see the color. It looks pinkish, so I'm assuming he's a lumberjack or part of the pumpkin workers. Now the Mark 1s for the lumberjack start at 46, so... Yeah, 1-20, it's not 1-22, it's 1-122. I have a lot of robots, I know. And he was trying to get a wooden mallet, and his battery ran out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to need a bot, 2 bots actually, and they're going to be the variants because I need recharging bots. And I like having the recharging bots be, well, look slightly different so I can tell them apart from everyone else. And I like having the recharging bots work in pairs because, you know, the recharging bots also run off of battery power. And by battery power, I mean just winding clockwork stuff. So I did have the parts for another robot just sitting around. I forget what I was going to have that robot do, so I'll probably figure out eventually. I'm going to need one. I'm going to wind you up initially. Give you this. Right, so this is what I want you to do. You're going to come over here, you're going to rewind this robot. Going to come over here and work in this search area. Yeah, I'm going to have to remember it's the tail ends here and stops right at the field. I'm going to do all this forever, and now go. But this right here is what I was talking about, how there's gaps in the logician's field. There's spots on the map that they travel to that I just haven't gotten recharging bots up and running to cover. So if there's a problem and they die in that area, there's no one left to recharge them. Here's another location. But because I need to train this recharging bot to work this area as well, I'm going to have the bot, well, I'm going to recharge this bot, and then I'm going to move this area. Work here as well. And do that forever, and now go. Alright, so that should be the same sized area. So I don't recall if I have another team just for recharging the logicians when they're out in the field. But for right now, I'm just going to dump them in with the other. I mean, apparently I don't, because these are also doing the same job of just recharging along the path, and they're part of the logicians. So I'm assuming. Okay, so these guys are recharging the water gatherers, which still don't have a team, so I need to come up with a name for them. Also, I need more logicians to haul food from the farming district to the actual cooking area. Because these storages no longer have enough storage, and so they're constantly running out, so the people start to starve. I mean, they seem to be fine for now. They are producing enough WOV to keep powering research to get new and more interesting things, but it's still an ongoing process. As I said, out of planks, which means I need more planks. Of course, I'm also out of logs, so there's that. Because this log storage is empty. This one's filled, but the logician's taking forever just to haul from point A to point B. And what are you doing? Who even are you? Huh. Oh, the cam just sits right there. Seriously, who are you? Alright, so you're 1068, well, Mark 1-68. So it looks like you're hauling logs to here, but log storage is filled. So one log storage is completely empty, and the other one, because they're not harvesting trees anymore. Alright, where is... Mark 1, the original bot. Well, 0 Mark 1. The original bot is out of power, so he's not harvesting trees, which is why they ran out of logs. And since that's half my log storage right there, the Woodcutters Guild log storage ran out, which means that they can't make planks as fast because they're waiting on logs, which means that the guys hauling planks everywhere ran out. And they're still waiting. So, okay, fine. Why are you carrying a log? Put that away. Also, I still have plenty of... Why are you holding it? Who even... Why am I constantly asking various questions? What was Mark IV doing? Why is he still carrying a... Is that a pickaxe? I think that's a pickaxe. I mean, if they're over here, they probably don't actually have anything to do. But I'm not seeing them on the retired list, which, to be fair, is also the list of bots I have yet to actually give, well, teams to, even if they do have jobs. I mean, I do have bot storage. I just need to build it, which requires a large amount of heavily... Well, a fair number of things requiring to be built, like square frames and panels. And panels require square frames to be built, which require a whole bunch of stuff. Most notably, more planks and more poles and fixing pegs, and then the panel requires more planks and even more fixing pegs. And the thing is, I'm running low on planks. Got plenty of poles, although pole storage is not at maximum. But that could just easily be also the fact that the planks required to turn into poles are also running out because, again, plank shortage. And they can't make the poles fast enough to keep up with demand anymore, so it will eventually run out. Well, hopefully now that I got this lumberyard up and running again, they won't run out of logs, but something tells me that they will. Especially when these guys run out of power in the middle of nowhere. And I should have set up a recharging spot right here. I did not. Right. Do I still... Okay, so these guys are still set up for removing turf. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have you stop, and I'm going to have you record, and I'm going to change your hunting location, or your digging location, to up here. Yeah. Yeah, right here. Because I'm going to clear this area out and use it as another lumberyard. Alright, and so that way these towers don't get ridiculously too high. Just gonna start a new one right there. There. So hopefully they'll dig this area out. Once it's dug out, they can dig up all these spare stumps and chop down the spare trees and actually get it somewhat organized to be a new lumberyard. And then... Well, and then I'm going to need another one of these things for log storage, more stick storage, basically more storage for everything. Then I need to program the bots to, program the bots to get everything up and running. But for now, I'll just start digging it out. Of course, one thought that I had was to basically, since this is a smaller lumberyard being manned by the original Mark 0 bots, to actually retire this area, and which would mean that I can just use the storages and other facilities for this yard for the new one. But since I'm out of planks right now, it's probably best if I just have an extra lumberyard right now and just build everything from scratch yet again. On the plus side, they're almost done all the new houses. This one just requires one extra plank for its roof, This one requires 6 planks for its roof. This one requires 5 more logs for its walls, and then 6 more planks for its roof. So the guy hauling straw should be done. Where even are you going? I think that's just like a random bot unpowered in the middle of nowhere. Probably gathering pumpkin chunks. I'm thinking about putting recharging bots right here because this is again another gap in the network, but there's only one bot unpowered for now, and I like having two. Doesn't mean I still can't build them. In fact, I can just have this one recharge this guy. And you just have somebody out here, and then once it runs out of power, they can have the other teach the other recharging bot how to recharge it. And the bot running the research is actually out of power. I realize that there's this little icon here, and since he's the only bot in the group, it means he's out of power. And I just realized I still left the Mark 0 bots to replant turf here, so they're just trying to fill the turf back in. Alright, so let me build you real quick. I'm just going to plop you over here for right now. And I never moved the recharging bots over. And now that you're recharged, you get a stop. You stop as well. I got a power warning on a smith and saw. Several logicians are out of power. Seriously, where are you? There we are. It must be just out of range. So what I'm going to have you do is I'm going to teach you how to rewind you. Alright, I think the areas are the exact same. Alright, and so while they're making a new field for wood cutting, I should probably focus on expanding the let's also just have them cut down these trees for right now. I do like that the order that you stack the parts in doesn't really matter. Alright, axes. Take that. And go back and grab my axe. I want you to come over here and chop down these trees. I'm going to do that in this 15 by 15 area. I said 15 by 15 area. I'm going to do this until your hands are empty. point going to come over here and grab a new axe. I'm going to do all this forever. Now go. And in he goes with the lumberjacks. And now, I need my shovel. Wish I would have my shovel in my backpack, so that's always good, but I need a shovel to give to him. And dig up the tree stumps until your hands are empty, at which point go over here and grab a new shovel. Can't talk anymore. And you do that forever. Right, now go. I would say then I need somebody to fill in the holes, but it's kind of a one-time thing, and there's only, what, 6 stumps? I mean, I just realized I'm going to need somebody else to actually dig up. I'll start digging holes. But I'll wait until the stumps are cleared, and then I can just fill in all the wayward holes, and then once this whole area is cleared, I can reorganize it so that way it gets more structured and looks more like this thing. Of course, I'm also going to need to move the all the storages for the maternity wardens over one, so that way there's room to work and expand. I mean, plank storage is getting more filled. Of course, that's because they finished 9 of the 10 log cabins, and the final one that's left doesn't need planks just yet. Still need to rewind you. I like the wavy pattern of all the grain. It looks nice. Alright, while you're just sitting around, one more 64. Let me see you on the list of unteamed robots. And that's why he's actually, well, he's supposed to be making the small silos, but the entire setup requires more than his mental storage can allow. I already have a bot brain upgrade, so can't make more silos, at least not easily. I mean, I can always make them manually by hand, as in I have my character do it, but like I said, that can get tedious. So what do I need for, like, all my pin plans? Just like stuff. One of these days I'll get around to doing it. Once, you know, I figure out the supply chain woes. They do say art imitates life. In the meantime, great new team. Call you the water bearers. Just because I can't think of anything better. And everybody who's hauling water goes here. We're involved in the with the water bearers anyway. Alright, you're just moving one clay pot to the other. You know what? I'll put you as part of the caretakers. Just simply because you have been working in that general area. And then you've dug up all the tree stumps. Okay. And we just go in and fill all the holes. Actually, you should be a lumberjack too, because that's basically what he's going to be doing once I actually finish setting this whole area up to be, well, lumberjack. Lumberjack, basically, tree grows, somebody chops it down, somebody digs up the stump, somebody plants a, broke my shovel. Yeah, somebody plants a broken shovel, no. Somebody plants the, a new tree seed and where the tree is, and we go from there. Rewind you. Alright, so I think that's every hole so far. To rewind you. What did I just have a random shovel just sitting here? That's the real problem I have with the supply chain. People just run out of power halfway through. In spots that I don't have recharging bots to cover, so they don't get recharged, and I don't realize until much later that they're actually non-functional. For instance, there's still yet another logician that's unpowered. Yeah, another one right here. Yeah, there's a pumpkin plucker that's out of power, a logician that's out of power, at least one, or at least several. One fruit flyer that's out of power, a caretaker that's out of power. Someone from the Stonecutters Guild just ran out of juice. I don't want that. I want one of these. I was gonna say, where did I put that shovel? You go there. Oh, you take that. This is what I want you to do. You're going to come over to this spot. And you're going to dig up a hole. It's the nearest hole in this 15 by 15 area. Alternating. You do that forever, at least until your hands are empty. At which point you're going to come over here and grab a new spade. Now I'm just going to have this bot do this task until much like the guys removing turf. All the holes are dug in the right spots. Then after that, you might actually be on tree seed duty because it's somebody. Well, it's plants the tree. Somebody plants the tree. Once the tree grows, somebody else chops it down. Then a third bot digs up the stump that's left, and that leaves a hole for the first bot to plant a new tree seed in. And then, yes, I know, I need another bot to gather the sticks, another bot to gather any fallen tree seeds, and at least one bot, maybe two, to actually just gather all the logs and then dump them in storages, which don't exist just yet. And then I need another logician to tell them to take, at least from the log storage, to the primary log storage, which actually now has a small supply of logs now. And plank storage now has a small supply of planks. So maybe it's just simply a case that all the logicians just straight up died, and things weren't getting to where they needed to go. It's not a case that supply exceeded demand, which means I may actually be able to turn off this lumberyard. That'd be neat. That'd be nice. It would also mean that I probably wouldn't need a new bot to haul the logs, because I'm fairly certain at least one of these bots might actually be picking up the logs for me here, so I can just move their search grid and move all the storages around and down and through. On the plus side, all the cabins are built now, so that's always fun. And all the log cabins are, well, broken. Well, some of them are. Because the bot hauling the logs to repair the cabins is offline. Just outside the recharge grid. Alright, so while he's going to be just digging up in here, wait for them to get done for that. Actually maxed out water storage. Okay, cool. What I'm going to do, if I move, this cabin does, yeah, the resident actually goes with it. The problem is that the cabins are, well, twice as wide as the lean-tos are, and there's a bot in the way now, isn't there? I need you out of the way so I can put the cabin back. I need you out of the way. Wrong button. Wrong button. Just so I can put this lean-to back. There we go. So my one thought is, because I originally planned on having all of these log crude huts be built and then be lived in by even more residents than what I currently have, but it's a pain in the butt just keeping the current residents alive. I never got around to building them, so my one thought is to just remove all these blueprints, put in these houses, move the residents, and then clear out these cabins. Did I have to turn you back on? I mean, he is working, so he's just looking for a hungry colonist, because apparently they're all fine, or at the very least, they'll be fine once their log huts get rebuilt. Need to make certain that the caretaker, what is the operational range for the caretakers? I mean, I'm sure I can expand it. This site was originally designed with the Mark 0 bots in mind, so it's a 11 by 11 area, I think. am once again running low on logs again. Alright, what was it? Let's get rid of these blueprints. And then move all the new housing developments. Put you there. Yeah, so in the space that I can get 2 wooden cabins and 2 crude cabins, 3 crude cabins I can fit. So if I... Huh. This here, and put this one here. I think that's still within their operational area. But I can only fit 4 of the more advanced cabins in where I could fit, well, 5 to 6 actually. Alright, and so since they move with the structure, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start grabbing people. I'm just going to plop them here. Now, colonists has evolved to a 3rd level, because I gave him a better house. Alright, colonists now give 1 times 100 if you meet their needs, and that requires clothing now. So once I get them to the 3rd, once they get to the, plopped in the new housing developments, they now need clothing, which isn't something that they needed beforehand, so definitely gonna have to work on that. Especially now that without the clothing, they won't produce any kind of log. Right, they might actually be bigger with the larger houses. And it looks like that they also require level 2 food as opposed to like just eating raw food doesn't work. So they probably actually would need like things like the spiced apples and the herb pumpkins and the like. And I'm guessing the next tier up they would actually need, well, the actual cooked food. I'm gonna stop you real quick, just pick you up, plop you here. Alright, where's my final columns? I'm guessing right there. And then you go here. Right, now that all the colonists have been moved, I can remove the crude huts. And I should have kept 1, so that way I know where the edge is. But just move all these down. And then these across. Alright, and then I pick you up. Put you down over here. Pick you up. Put you down over here. Have them continue their programming. Then, store this cabin. And put you here. Right, now all the cabins have been replaced, so they now live in better Well, accommodations. It's just now they need clothing as well, and I've yet to even start that industry. He's still digging holes, okay. Alright, so if I check the Autonautopedia and look at things like clothing, wool requires, well, sheep. So I need to look at cotton. So raw cotton gets turned into cotton lint. And the cotton lint gets turned into cotton thread. And then the cotton thread gets turned into cotton cloth, which I'm assuming gets turned into some form of clothing. Yeah, so the basic tunic requires cotton cloth. And the dress requires tunic, more cotton cloth, and more string. So for right, and it looks like I have actually quite a few things they can dress them up as. I mean, I can make them look like lumberjacks, or adventuring heroes, or plumbers, whatever the hell this, or whatever this thing is. You can also give them various extra hats and all the fun stuff. And while as much as I would probably enjoy playing dress up with the colonists, and the answer to that question is no, I wouldn't, because quite a few options, I think it's probably best if I just give them the basic stuff first. So everybody's going to start off with tunics, and then once I figure out what I want to make and how I want to make it and whatever is the next stage up, but still relatively easy to make, like say this shirt here, or not. But I would just basically go with tunics. So that's cotton cloth on the crude cloth station, and the cotton cloth, as I said, is made from thread on the, again, crude clothing station. And then the thread is made from lint. And then the lint is made from raw cotton using the threshing machine. And I need a spinning wheel to make turn the cotton lint into thread. Do I have any access to all of that? I should probably look under the clothing tab. So I have the spinning wheel, which requires a panel, a square frame, 6 poles, and a crude blade. And the crude clothing station requires 2 square frames, 4 planks, and 6 poles. I do not see the threshing machine, though. Oh, there we are. And the threshing machine actually requires to be put on an actual floor in order to be used. Same with the spinning wheel, but the spinning wheel also requires walls. So, things very complex, and I just realized I'm running out of mushrooms, actually, apparently. At least the ones grown in the field. Okay, I'm guessing the guys digging holes aren't around, because I'm fairly certain mushrooms need to be planted inside of a hole. Alright, so it looks like I have one bot digging the holes. That'd be Mark 1-103. And then 2 of them digging up the mushrooms. No, actually, one more, Mark 1-104 is also digging up the soil. So they're just not digging fast enough. That or hit the maximum, everybody stopped, and a bunch of mushrooms just despawned. Alright, so I should probably also look into getting cotton. I mean, there's some raw cotton right there. Spring also requires fertilizer and water. And tilled soil, much like the grain. Good to know. Also, there's no tube blocks over here, so let's get a pair of rechargers up and running. Alright, if you remember where I'm supposed to be looking at, another one of you, plop you down right there. Grab two of you, plop you down right there. Grab two of you, plop one on the station, the other one goes here. And we get two batteries because I didn't grab them earlier. Rewind you, because apparently you weren't being rewound. You there for now, and then just move you. Alright, so what I want you to do is you're going to come over here. You're going to rewind this robot. Find robots discharge in this 17 by 17 area. You know, part of it's over water, and there might actually be some over. Actually, I can't get over there because I'm guessing that's not explored yet. Okay, so in this 17 by 17 area, I know there's going to be overlap, but can't be helped right now. So, I mean, overlap is kind of good. That means multiple recharges can watch multiple things. So start and then stop, because I need the second one to watch the same area, and it's easier just to train a different bot in the same area than just letting this guy go to town and recharge all the bots in this area, and then I gotta go hiking all God knows where just to find another bot that's out of power. Alright, wrong button. Battery pack goes here. Okay, now I think... yeah, it's the same area. Alright, so hopefully this area, they don't run out of power in. On the plus side, this area is now fully tilled, so... Magicians. Got missed there. Did. Go. The other one also goes into here. Alright, so I'm just gonna rechange the loops around a little bit. So what I want you to do is you're going to come over here. I'm going to move to this tree seed storage, and you're going to take from the tree seeds until your hands are full. Then you're going to come over here and you're going to plant the tree seeds. In this 15 by 15 area. And move there and then plant the seeds until your hands are empty, and then you're going to do that forever. Now go. With the lumberjacks, and there's power. No, I don't want to grab a stick. I want you to recharge the bot, which is actually behind. The area in question. Alright, and so once these trees get planted, the robot that was originally chopping down all the trees in this area should just automatically chop down the new trees. I'm gonna grab this shovel real quick because I don't think it's needed right now, and just put it back in shovel storage. Okay, now I think right, so whatever, okay, so that's actually a logician guy. So he's actually taking the logs from the storage. So I have a basic bot hauling into storage. So what I need is another standard bot to take the logs from that get chopped down and dump them in the storage. Which means I'm probably going to need another one for tree seeds and sticks as well. So I'm going to need 3 bots, and that's only enough heads for 2. Alright, so you're going to come here, you're going to pick up this log. And the logs are going to be found in this 17 by 17 area. I'm going to drop them off here. I'd say do until your hands are full, but let's be honest, they can only carry, much like the character, the Mark 1 bots can only carry 1 log at a time, as far as I can tell. I'm going to do that forever. Now go. Alright, and once, well, I would say once I get more trees planted and they actually start the cycle, well, cycling around and around and around, I'll move the storages down. But it looks like they may actually be in the middle of, well, a continuous cycle, because now I have trees, now he's harvesting, and now somebody's digging up the stumps. Means I can actually have Mark 1-3 I'll wait until he's actually empty, or he no longer has any tree seeds, and I'll stop him. I'll stop him, even though he's right now out of power. Now that there aren't any tree seeds being planted, once all the trees are chopped down, they shouldn't get more, well, new trees shouldn't be planted. So once this area runs out, I'll move all the storages down and, well, to here. So probably going to need a robot to pick up the eggs, because apparently the chicken moved south. So what I want you to do is you're going to come here and pick up any sticks that fall. I'm going to do this until your hands are full. I'm going to do it in this 17 by 17 area. And then once that, and once your hands are full, you're going to drop them off here. You want to do this until your hands are empty. You do all that forever. Now go. And I just realized what I should have programmed the guy actually chopping the trees down. Let me stop real quick. What I should have done is set it so that way it's until question mark is filled. Question mark being this log storage, and then do that forever. So that way, if and when they manage to refill the storage and they don't need, they can't fit any more logs, he stops. And once he stops, trees don't get chopped down again. And if the trees don't get chopped down again, the stumps don't get dug up because there won't be any stumps, and then there won't be any holes to replant the new trees in. But the guys picking up the sticks, the logs, and the tree seeds should continue right on going. Just to clean up the area. And so that way I don't have like just piles and piles of stuff just sitting around everywhere. And you do the same over here for tree seeds. At least you would if you were recording. And then once all the trees are removed from here, I'll move all the storages down. Alright, so now I don't see the chicken over here, so I'm just going to drop this egg over here so that way the guy holding the eggs can just pick it up. And since the basic bots can only carry 3 things, he's just going to drop all the eggs in there. Alright, and since I'm using the the old storages from the old field as opposed to building new ones, I don't have to program logicians to haul the stuff back and forth. Once I move the storages, they should go to the new locations. And you are also part of the lumberjacks now. Congratulations. And I would say that should hopefully take care of the plank shortages, but they're practically maxed out on planks again. Same with logs. So now that they no longer need to build new housing, everything's fine. So let me just build 2 more houses so that way this area gets filled. Where is housing? Oh, here we are. Should be yeah, that's within their search criteria. So the build-a-bots building houses should now just build more. And I can put these 2 here, and I can even make 2 more colonists, so I can go from 10 colonists to 12. Even if they're all completely butt naked, and now that they're all level 3, they realize that. So next thing I got to worry about is cotton. And I have the fields already cleared to growing cotton. That's why I built so many. I mean, I had these right here, and then one was going to be carrots, another coconuts, another cotton, and then I had an extra field for something I do not remember what I had planned for, or it could have just been an extra field. I mean, I got this field right here as well, which I just basically built because I had space, and I figured I'll eventually find something to grow in it. But it looks like if I want to max out cotton, not only do I need to grow the cotton, I also need to till the soil and water it, much like the cereal crops. I also need to fertilize it, but I haven't quite figured out fertilizer yet. I'm assuming it involves, well, poo. Of the non-Winnie variety. Right, and this area is now completely off, so at least all the trees are down, and all the stumps are gone. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move all the storages down to, well, yeah, down to here. there. Put you there. Put you there. And as I said, they should just move from one side to the other. Yeah, so now everybody that's hauling stuff is, well, moving down here. So it'll take the logicians extra time to go from point A to point B, but now with more trees, and I think the standard bots move faster, they should be getting more logs faster over here, which means more logs faster over here, even if they do gotta walk through this area. But there is at least one basic recharging bot over here, and until I build bot storage and just shoving all the basic bots in there because the area is getting crowded. Now I should have somebody to watch this area. So as I was saying, cotton. You need to till the soil, need to water the soil, need to grow the cotton, harvest the cotton, plant the cotton, store the cotton, and that's just to get the raw cotton, the field up and running. I would then also need to build the entire infrastructure just to get the cotton growing, which includes the manufacturing capabilities to turn the cotton into lint, and then the lint into thread, and then the thread into cloth, and then the cloth into, well, tunics. And then they can actually have something to wear as opposed to just sitting on their rumps being completely useless. Just sitting on their rumps being completely useless. But all of that is going to take quite a bit, and it's also going to have to be saved until next time, because I am going to call it here. Everybody stay safe from the plague, and have a good day.